Hello, everyone. Happy emotion season. It. I'm gonna jump up here in my hammock. Last time I did this in the hammock, and I liked that. That was pleasant. So let's do that again. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can get in my hammock successfully. This might look a little weird for just 1 second. Here we go. There we go. I'm in a hammock now. Um, let's see here. So, it is the emotion processing emotions season now, and this is kind of a unique season. I I never want to say that any season is more important than the others, or that any of the 13 virtues are more important than any of the others. They're definitely like all important. Um, but what I would say is that and I think that like I'm working on the book. I'm working on the 13 seasons book right now. And when I go over each of the 13 virtues in the book, I choose to do the when I'm doing each of the 13 seasons in the book, I'm like choosing to do the emotion processing one first. Because I just feel like while it's not any more important than the rest, in at least in like white people society, the Western world right now, we are just not making time to process our emotions, and it's really important. I was listening to a podcast recently. Hello, Cardboard Man 123. I listened to a podcast recently. It talked about grief, and it talked about a man who the man in the podcast who's speaking in the podcast went to Africa, and he said that in Africa people have more traditions around grieving than we do. And when people die, they like hold grief ceremonies in their house. So like if you go to this, he said in this particular city in Africa, if you go there at any given time and go to like anywhere in the city, he said that there's going to be at least two houses somewhere in the city where people are grieving someone who died. They there in that part of West Africa, they are not as rich as we are in the United States where I live. They don't have as much medicine or as much food or as much other things that I take for granted, and people die more often. And they're just more accustomed to grief there, and they have ceremonies around their grief. When someone dies, they take time to grieve, you know? Like where I live, if someone dies, you go to the funeral, you kind of hold your emotions in and try not to look sad in front of anyone. And then after like a few days or a week, you're expected to be back at work like normal. And that is not working for us. In the podcast, he said that he met a woman in Africa who was just the most joyous person he'd ever met. She just exuded joy all the time. And he said to her, "Hey, why are you have so much joy? What's going on? Why do you have so much joy?" And she was kind of caught off guard, and she said, "Well, if I do have so much joy, it's only because I've cried so much." And I think that like the more we let ourselves feel all the emotions, the more we. And by the way, hello, welcome Brenda, Jamie, and Peggy. Thank you all for putting stuff in the comments. It really helps when you guys comment. Your comments give me like directions, so like questions in the comments, Anything in the comments like kind of gives really powerful direction to this, and it builds a really good energy. So thank you. But yeah, I think that the more we let ourselves feel all the emotions, the more deeply we can feel all the emotions, and then the more richer and better life is. But if we're scared of certain emotions, don't let ourselves feel those emotions, then we start cutting off our ability to feel emotions deeply. Emotions get stuck in us and we get sick. We get mentally sick, we get physically sick, we get emotionally sick, we get spiritually sick when we let our emotions get trapped in us. We don't let ourselves feel them. So today we'll be talking a lot about emotions. Before we get too much more into emotions though, here in 13 seasons, every 28 days we focus on a different principle or virtue. And even though we're moving into emotions, but the previous month we were focused on healing, on the principles of how to heal of anything, any kind of healing. We can also call them problem-solving principles because they apply to really solving any kind of problem. Welcome, Impulsivity Entertainment. You say I was why. Not quite sure what that means, but I'm hope being why was good for you. But last season, I said that our family put a paper on the wall that looked like this. It said, it's backwards on here, but it said Happy Healing Season. And we put this on the wall when we started the season. And then throughout the season, everyone just wrote on the wall, on the paper, like things that they were ways in which they learned about healing or ways they grew in healing. And I want to read some of these to you right now. And I encourage any of you, as I read these and as you think about it, think about the last 30 days and go ahead and add to, as I read these, add to the chat anything you learned over the last 30 days. And I'll come back to your comment. Impulsivity Entertainment. Okay, so here we go. That's like your comment. So I think actually your comment has a lot of value. Impulsivity Entertainment, like a lot of value. That's actually really important what you're talking about there. There are people of different ages here, some of which are very young. So let's try to keep the language, really like PG or G. But the principle, the concept you're saying is very, very important. I want to come back to that actually in a sec. I do want to talk about that. So here's some healing principles you wrote down. Everyone else, please write in the chat any way you grew in the last 30 days. So I wrote some things people wrote are journaling helps with healing. My inner authority led me to write about my trauma and it healed me. I healed the parts of me that didn't want to be mindful. This required maintenance. It requires maintenance to be present. As you do it, it becomes natural and normal. Healing can come after deep discomfort. Being preemptive includes teaching virtue every day. I learned about healing through grief. I actually mentioned that. Let go of mistakes as you learn from them. Someone wrote accidental teamwork. I kind of like that. Sometimes teamwork's really important. Sometimes it happens on accident. Healing comes from pursuing what is right for you. There's in here one part it just says heal beam and it has a picture. I don't know if you can see it. It has a picture of this guy shooting a heal beam. See if here, let me switch my camera angle. So yeah, it says heal beam. That's pretty cool. And there's just some cool pictures here that are fun stuff. When your stuff comes up, take care of it. That's a good one. Lots of good drawings here. These drawings are fantastic. Being honest with people can make things hard in the short term, but heal in the long term. I talked with my ego, listened, then used beams of light. This was like a meditation activity to heal the ego, so it works for me instead of against me. Work with, not versus, who you want to heal. Lots of good stuff here. I'm really grateful that our son Will had the idea to put this on the wall. We need to put a new one up for the emotion season now, so we could keep track of the things we learned. And I'm grateful for just, I mean, some of the drawings on here are just kind of like drawings of just fun stuff. And I'm grateful for that, you know? Like, I think that shows that it's really important to make like our practice of virtue fun, right? Like if we can just associate fun with our practice of virtue, then our family members and ourselves will feel virtue is fun, so we'll keep doing it. So like even if some of these drawings might not obviously be about healing when you look at them, it associates fun with the healing, and that's important. Impulsivity, entertainment. So anyone else, please write in the chat any way you've grown over the last 30 days or last month. But I like that impulsivity entertainment talks about pooping. And he says, he talks about a guy who pooped, and he talked about the healing properties of that, right? I'm not sure exactly. I don't know exactly like the context of that totally. So I don't know for sure what's going on there, but I can say this, that what comes into our body is important, like for how we heal, and what comes out of our body is important for how we heal. And that like having really healthy peeing and poopy habits is like really important to healing. And we don't like to talk about it because we think it's like embarrassing or something, but like it's really important to our health. And so if we can like have the courage and vulnerability to talk about it, we can have better health together. So it's worth doing. I also would say this, I found, speaking of emotional healing, what I have noticed is that when I do a lot of emotional healing, like if I do like some really intense emotional healing experiences, I oftentimes need to poop afterwards. And sometimes it's like really kind of intense pooping afterwards. And I'm just going to be vulnerable about that, even though it's kind of weird for people. And I think there's I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, I don't know of any research on this, so I can't like tell you exactly what's going on there, but I don't think it's a coincidence. One thing I do know from research is that emotions can leave our body through liquids, through sweat. So like when people, if you feel like you're feeling like some like challenging emotions, like you're really angry or really like stressed out or something, or depressed or things like that, if you exercise to the point that you sweat a lot, it'll help you feel better. And part of the reasons why is because the hormones of those emotions are leaving your body through the sweat. Like the hormones actually in the sweat. I don't know if there's any research on this part, but I believe that that's also sometimes why we cry when we get really emotional. That actually helps the emotions leave. Like the emotions need a liquid the hormones of the emotions need a liquid to travel in, right? And so I really think there's something with that. I also really suspect that the same can be true of like poop and pee. That when you process a lot of emotions, particularly things that maybe have been trapped in your digestive system for a long time, or in your kidneys, or in in any of those kind of organs, that sometimes processing emotions, after you process emotions, that stuff, those hormones that have been trapped in your body because you never took care of those emotions, need to leave somehow. And so I think that's the thing that happens. All right. Well, now I scared away all the viewers in the live stream with my TMI talking, but that's okay. Okay. If anyone else wants to, please add to the chat how you've grown and things you've learned or how you've grown in the last 30 days or so. What do you want to say about emotions today? It's worth feeling emotions. I find a lot of people want to avoid feeling emotions. We'll even try to avoid happiness for some reason. Well, I know exactly why I do that. Brené Brown talks a lot about this, that we are scared of happiness because we're scared of it ending, right? It feels torturous to be happy and then think that you're going to have to stop being happy at some point. You know it won't last. We've been happy enough times to know that eventually other emotions come. So when we're happy, we're like scared to lean too much into the happiness because we're scared of when it's going to end, right? It will feel really let down. Um, they talk. I've recently read all Lord of the Rings over again, and even talks about this in Fellowship of the Ring. Um, Gimli, the dwarf in that book, uh, when they go to Lothlorien and they meet the Galadriel, and they have like this really like blessed and really wonderful experience with Galadriel and the elves. And when they and when they're done there, Gimli says that he'd rather fight the Dark Lord himself than feel what he's feeling right now. And his reasoning is, he's like, hey, it's really hard to have been so happy and been around well, he's talking maybe about Galadriel, has been around the light of Galadriel in that forest and have to leave it. That hurts. He'd rather go fight like the most evil person on earth than feel that sadness of that grief of leaving that happy place. So yeah, it's a real thing. It's scary to let ourselves be happy because it won't last. But I'll tell you what, it's worth doing, right? I love the Pharrell Williams song "Happy," right? What I love about that song is that he says like, if you feel happy, right, do this, right? Clap your hands if that's what you want to do, right? So like when you're happy, like that song invites us to lean into happiness when we're feeling it. And like, it's not going to last. So we are going to have other feelings later. That's great. So let yourself feel it all the way. And I think the same is true for all their feelings. The only reason why any feeling is negative is because we resist it, because we don't want to feel that way. If you're okay with feeling whatever you're feeling, then it's not a problem, right? It's like being sad isn't necessarily a bad thing. I had an experience this week where I expressed my feelings and I felt like really, really, really sad about some stuff. And I was experiencing some grief, and I was expressing a lot of empathy and compassion. And someone said to me like, "Oh, I'm really sorry you're feeling this way." And it confused me. Because I wasn't sorry I was feeling that way. Like, I was actually, what I was trying, it actually felt really good to like say it and feel it. And like, I was like, yeah, it feels so good to feel this. And I know the person was trying to empathize. And I don't, and like I'm grateful for that person's empathy. But it just, in that moment, I just kind of felt kind of funny. I felt like kind of like, huh, what's going on right now? Because in that moment, I was just in a place where I was like, okay with those feelings. And I actually was kind of weirdly enjoying getting to feel them, even though it was a lot of grief and a lot of sadness. But there was like compassion, there was love in it. And it felt good to go there. But I think a lot of us are scared to go places emotionally, and so we're scared, and so we resist our own emotions. But I encourage us to just try just being okay with feeling whatever you're feeling and expressing whatever you're feeling. I'd also like to advocate for the importance of writing. I recently took a class where we were encouraged. It was like a self-improvement class, and we were encouraged to do a lot of writing. We were encouraged at least once a week, but more often if we want, but at least once a week, to set a 10-minute timer and just write whatever comes to us. So like anything at all. So like write like anything, just whatever comes to us, write, and don't stop writing for 10 minutes. And if you ever get stuck and like don't know what to write, we were just encouraged to write, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. I don't want to know what to write, and keep writing that until something more came to us. Just write continuously. We were really encouraged to do that. And I found it really healing, actually, and to help me just put order to everything I'm feeling and thinking every day. And it got to the point where even though we were only asked it once a week, I was doing it multiple times a week. Not always every day, but multiple times a week, and sometimes multiple times a day, depending on the day. And there's something about handwriting. Like, they told us in the class that if we do it, that the research shows that if you write by hand, it does different things with your brain than if you write on a computer. And I like writing on a computer traditionally. I just think I really enjoy it. And so I was not sure if I believed that. But I just tested it. My first writing I did for the class, I wrote it on a computer, and then the next time I did it by hand. And I actually found that for me, that's true. That when I take time to write by hand, what I'm thinking and feeling, it like does something special. And it's really powerful to set a timer, right? Because if I'm just writing what I'm thinking and feeling just whenever without a timer, it feels like I don't know how long I'm going to do it for. I get kind of impatient. I'm like, well, should I stop now? But if I just commit, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes, set a timer for 10 minutes and go. Like, one, I have time for that. Like, I can handle 10 minutes. And two, I find that then I don't get impatient because I just know I'm going to go till the timer goes off and stop. So I'm just like, I just keep going. Like, for 10 minutes, I don't stop writing. Just never stop. I never edit. I just write for 10 minutes. And then that feels really doable. Just keep going because I know when I'm going to stop. The other thing is that I find that it does something with my subconscious. If I say to my subconscious, I have 10 minutes, in those 10 minutes, I'm going to write what needs to be said, then my subconscious makes sure to use those 10 minutes to get wherever I need to get. It's really, really powerful stuff. And I find that sometimes when I write, it's good just to write it and keep it, depending on what I wrote. Sometimes when I write, it's really good to destroy it. Sometimes when I write, certain feelings come out that I just really want to process all the way. And like burning the paper or ripping the paper up can like really help me like let go of those things and move on. It depends on what I wrote. But if it's like if a lot of like just really big emotions come out that were stuck before, like really big anger, really big grief, or really big, the kind of stuff that you want to like let go of and process and move on from, when that happens, I find it really valuable to like destroy the paper. And my favorite way of destroying it is to either rip it up in small pieces or burn it and then take what's left. So take like the little pieces of paper or take the ashes and add them to my compost. I love to add to compost because because the paper will break down with the rotten, with the vegetables and stuff. And then the paper becomes part of the compost. And then you can use that matter to grow new plants. And that is really, really, really cool to be able to do that. I love that. Being able to grow plants. It's like I get all my emotions out and then I use that matter to create plants that can they like bring forth new life, right? It's like my emotions came out and it released something new and beautiful that has new life. Okay, I have a comment here. I don't know how to say your name correctly. I'm sorry. But it says, I think, is it Shurat? Is that how you say your name? Who's from Uzbekistan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know where that is. I'm assuming that's in Eastern Europe, is my assumption. And he asks if I am an influencer. I'm trying to have influence every day. I don't know if I'm a really big influencer, at least not on YouTube, but I try to live a good life and influence the people around me and influence our planet in a good direction with the best I can. Okay, I think that now it is time to be useful to do a meditation. So everyone, if you can, just everyone here, if you want to just take a big deep breath with me in and let it out. You can close your eyes with me and get comfortable. I invite you to become aware with me in your inside yourself. Be aware of the image of a television, like a screen of some kind. And on that screen, an experience comes up that was really emotional for you. Something from your past that you never took care of emotionally. And it comes up, and whatever comes to you first is the right thing. So it comes up, there's an image there, just be aware of what it is. And just spend some time with that memory. What happened? How did that affect you? What emotions did you feel during that experience? Just be aware of those emotions. Let yourself even feel them right now if you want. As you feel the emotions, you might, and yes, I am speaking English fluently. As you feel the emotions, you might like tap right here, like this. Tapping right here helps on your sternum, helps you to process the emotions. So I just feel the emotions, let them come back to you, and feel the emotions, that experience. You can feel yourself. You know, there are 8 people on this live stream right now, and there'll be other people that watch it later probably. And so let yourself be connected to all those people who are here together, so that we can hold the emotional space together. So you're not alone feeling the emotions. Let yourself feel the emotions of that experience. And now take a moment to be aware. Be aware of how you wish that experience had gone. Like if that experience had gone differently in a way that was better for you, what would it be like? And take a moment just to experience the experience in a different timeline where it went differently. Let yourself absorb the different emotional experience of the different way it could have gone. Let that fill your body. And let yourself experience some healing from that. And go ahead and tap some more. And as you tap right here, as you tap here, just let yourself feel whatever you're feeling. Shurat asks, what do you think about David Goggins? He inspires a lot of people who face difficulties. I actually don't know who that is. I'll probably look that up later, but you're welcome to tell us more about David in the comments. Love to hear more about him. I love to hear about people that inspire other people for sure. What more? Is there anything more to say about emotions today? Well, if anyone has any questions related to emotions or other comments about emotions, please go ahead and put those in the chat. Let me just think for a second and see if I'm feeling like there's anything else that I think is important for us to do or say today. Feeling like we can practice another emotion processing exercise together. So another thing we can do to help us process. So the thing we just did was that you take a moment to like just if when we imagine things as humans, our bodies think they're real. So if you take a moment to just remember something difficult, like some emotional experience from the past, then when you remember it, you'll feel the feelings as if it's happening to you right now. Um, and that's useful because you can let go of those feelings. Um, Sometimes if we just ask ourselves, and you can do this with the writing exercise I talked about. Sometimes if we just ask ourselves, hey, what's a memory I have that I haven't processed yet, and just ask yourself that question, and then be aware of your own emotions. Just be aware of what memory comes up for you instantly. Like your body can bring up memories that you don't even know you forgot. That happened to me when we did this exercise together just now. A memory came to me of something that happened to me when I was very, very little that previous moment I didn't ever remember it happening. Like I just had this visual come to me. Something must have happened to me when I was a little tiny kid that I didn't remember happened to me, and it was really good for me to do that. Um, and then it can be really helpful also to to do what we did together just now, to tap. Tapping's really effective. Tapping right here while you feel the emotion helps you process it. Another thing that's really, really helpful is to when you is to like whatever the emotional experiences that caused you such grief, to take some time to imagine it going differently, right? Imagine it going differently than it did. Imagine it going the way you wish it would have gone, and then your body creates hormones as if that's a real memory, and then you have the even though you know it went the way it did, you have the emotional memory of it having gone differently. And even though you intellectually you still know that this really bad thing happened, or this unfortunate thing happened, or this really emotional thing, this thing was challenging happened, this thing that hurt you happened, emotionally, it's as if it went a different way. It's as if you lived a different timeline. And that's pretty cool. Shirat asks, why does stress make a person feel depressed when going to bed? Do you have any tips to overcome it? That's a cool question. Because sleep is dang important. Um, it's very, very, very important that we sleep well. And so, Will just came on over. What's up, Will? I think Will's going to be in the hammock across from me. He's going to climb in there and listen there. That's cool. So sleep is really important because if we're not getting enough sleep, our emotions become more heightened in a way that's not good. Because if you're not getting enough sleep, then your body thinks you're in trouble because you're not rested, and you start getting more stress. So stress and sleep become this cycle. Because if you're not getting enough stress, you can't. If you're getting too much stress, your body is too your body's like too like, because stress makes you feel like, makes your heart beat faster and makes your blood pump more and stuff like that. And so when you're stressed out, your body doesn't want to sleep. Your body wants to stay active. But then if you don't get enough sleep, you get more stressed because you haven't gotten the rest you need to be okay. So this is actually like a real challenge, and it is really important to figure out how to sleep, how to like let go of that stress so you can sleep at night, so you can start not feeling stressed. Something I find that's really helpful that you can try is to come to your senses. So in English, we use the phrase "come to your senses" to mean like be rational, to calm down, right? But the way you come to your senses is focusing on your senses. So when if you're stressed, but you stop, or feeling any emotions really, getting to the present moment through your senses helps a lot. Like this is even an advice people give people that are having panic attacks, right? When you're having a panic attack, it can be really powerful to come to your senses. Look around you and say, and just ask yourself, what can I see, right? So I can look up here. Like I can look up here. What do I see? Well, I see some trees. And I see some leaves, and some of the leaves are green, and some leaves are a little more brown, looks like. I see a blue sky. Just focus on what you can perceive right now. If I go back here, I can see part of my hammock. And I can see that it's teal, but it's also gray, right? Um, and so if you start noticing, you can see, but this is what you can do after you start noticing things, then ask yourself, what more do I see? Like I'm noticing right now that this tree, there's dark and light shadows on it. And you can do that with all your senses. So do that with what you can see, but also do it with what you can hear, what you can smell. Just see what you notice, and then see what else you can notice. And then as you just notice what your senses are sensing, it helps you forget about the stress and just be in the space you're in. And then that can help you calm, like turn your mind off so you can fall asleep. Yeah, you can give me another question, Sherrod, if you want to. And while I'm waiting for his question, something else, another little exercise you can do is, if you want to like process a feeling, is just ask yourself, what's a feeling I need to process now? And just ask yourself that question, and then pay attention to your body and just see what feelings come up. Just let the feeling come up, let it be there. Be okay with it. And then breathe in to bring the feeling, like as you breathe in, bring the feeling all into one place in your body. And then as you breathe out, imagine the feeling going from that one place down through the bottom of your body into the earth. The earth is big. Sometimes the feelings we have feel too big for us, right? Like one time I had some grief come over me, and I was really, really sad about a memory that came back to me. And I was feeling so sad that I just couldn't handle it. In this experience, it felt like I was a Dixie cup, like a little tiny cup, and I was trying to hold like 5 gallons of water. And it was just too much grief to fit in my cup. So I went out, but when I went outside, I looked at the stars. It was a dark night. It was a cloudless night with lots of stars. I looked at the stars and I thought about how big the sky is and how big the stars are. And I was like, these feelings are too big for me, but the sky is big enough to hold them. And the stars are huge enough to hold them. So I like held the emotions with the stars and the sky. And that helped so much in that. And I just talked to the sky about what I was feeling. I just cried and talked to the sky about it. And we can do that with the sky, and we can also with the earth. The earth is huge. The earth is so big. Let the earth hold your emotions with you. Like you can bring your emotion up one place, then breathe it into the earth. Let the earth hold it with you. That can be really powerful. New question. If your children can't find a good job or money, do you support them or scold them? I am encountering this situation. Okay, that's tricky because on one hand, you want to help your kids because they're having a hard time. On the other hand, you want to encourage your kids to get a job so they can, it's good for your kids to support themselves, right? You're not going to be around forever. And you want your kids to be able to take care of themselves and be empowered. It's really hard. It's hard. Both sides make sense. I think there's virtue in both sides. I think it really depends on the individual person's situation. I think that each person, it's going to depend on the kid and depend on the person. But I can tell you this. It's really powerful to start by working through all the emotions. Like, get a sheet of paper and just write down all the feelings you have about your kids' struggles. Write all the feelings out. Every single feeling you have. Write to get all the feelings out. And then destroy the paper. And if that goes well for you, you could encourage your kids to do the same. You can say to them, I know that not having a job right now is really challenging for you. And invite and encourage them. You can even do it with them. Say, I think it'd be good for you to write down all the feelings you have about not having a job. Write them all out and destroy the paper. Because until you and they take care of those feelings, you're going to be stuck, and it's going to be hard to know how to move forward. But if you process the feelings, then it frees your whole body up and your mind up to figure out what to do. And it's good to be really honest about what are your feelings that cause you to want to help them and not want to help them, right? Like, what are the feelings behind that? Figure out what those feelings are. And when you're really honest with yourself about the experiences you had and the emotions you have that lead you to want to help them or not help them, when you're really honest about that, then you'll be in a position where you can more easily figure out your feelings on the matter and what you figure out, like, what's the best thing to do because the feelings are processed. I really think that every important decision and every important trial starts with doing something to process the feelings. Then after you process the feelings, figure out what to do. If anyone has any more questions, you can put those in the chat right now. Do you have a question, Will?
No.
Will does not have a question. If you have a question, you can put them in the chat. I'm really glad that this talking here helped you forget some of that pressure and let go of some of that stress. Sure, like, a lot of us are struggling right now. The whole world's economy is weird right now, and a lot of us are struggling with money, and our kids are growing up in a situation that's different. Like, young people now are growing up in a situation that's different than it was, 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's just hard right now in many countries. It's a really, really hard thing. But and the hard stuff brings up lots of feelings, and it's good to process the feelings. And as a planet, we're all sharing feelings together, right? Like, I have feelings myself, but then my family has feelings together. We have feelings with other people. And as a planet, we experience feelings on a global scale. Like, all together, we experience feelings together. And one more exercise we can do before we stop is we can do our part to just do a little bit of the work of processing the feelings of the whole planet. And when we do that, it helps the whole planet. Here's how we do that. Go ahead and close your eyes with me. Just do a big, deep breath to calm your body. Be aware of the entire planet Earth. And then be aware of the whole planet Earth shrinking down until the entire planet can fit inside your chest. And just hold the whole planet in your chest. And say to the planet, whatever feelings what feelings are you feeling that I can help with? And let those feelings come up, whatever they are. And just hold them with the planet, all together, with the whole planet. And visualize it like you're taking the planet like it's a sponge, and you're like squeezing the planet like a sponge. And the emotions that don't help the planet anymore just come out of the planet like water out of a sponge. And then they get pulled towards the sun and get burned up in the sun. And Just be aware of all people on earth. Be aware of us all as one. All the people of earth are one person, one self. We are all brothers and sisters, one planet, one people. Let us all connect and be one, and love each other, and share energy and share our emotions between us, so we're not alone. And that is how we can bless the whole planet. I love you all, and have a wonderful day. And I will see you on the next one. I'll be back in about 28 days from now to do another one of these live streams next time. So the next 20, we'll be talking about boundaries next time, setting boundaries. But for the next 28 days, we're going to focus on emotions. So have a good time the next 28 days, growing your emotions. Let yourself feel every emotion. When it's time to be sad, be sad. Just let yourself be sad all the way. When it's time to be mad, let yourself be mad. Just, be careful. Just don't hurt anyone, right? Just be mad without hurting anyone. Rip some paper. Listen to some angry music. Be mad in a way that doesn't hurt anyone else. When it's time to be happy, let yourself be happy all the way. And I love you all very much. And enjoy this season. Enjoy your best self one season at a time. And goodbye. I forgot how to turn this off when I'm done. There it is. All right. Goodbye.